Hey everyone, it's Blue Bastard 86. Well, moving on in this series of what is in my boat storage, my boat's tackle, we're doing jig boxes. For everybody who appreciated my lack of organization in my other videos, you're really going to love this one, because there is no less organization anywhere in any of my boxes than these two right here. Basically, finesse type jigs in this one, bigger jigs in this one. That's the end of it. That's the organization. So, sometimes it's fun finding them, but yeah, that's how I have them organized. And I don't fish a lot of different colors, so that kind of helps with the organization. There's a few head styles, and everything else is pretty similar. There's not a lot of variation, so let's get into it here. So we'll start right up here up front. These are and most of these are almost all going to be my jigs. There's very few store-bought jigs in here, so there's not a lot of variation from that either. They're all going to be pretty much mine. These are a couple of the these are kudzu in orange, just round ball finesse heads. Probably, it's like maybe a 3/8 ounce. There are going to be quite a few of those. Actually a brush jig with a finesse cut skirt. I can put a little bit bigger hook on those, so sometimes you need a finesse bait with a heavier duty hook. Same thing, pretty much a kudzu orange, but I put a little bit of brown in that one. On a, that was also a brush jig head. This is one of my flipping heads with the hidden eye, and it's a little more compact, but it's a little bit smaller hook on it. That's just green pumpkin and brown. Very, very natural, neutral looking color. It's another round head with the kudzu in orange. This is one of my kind of experiment time jigs. This is my Grasshopper color. This is a brush jig head, but it has a screw lock instead of a weed guard. So I can put a plastic on there. Kind of adds bulk, keeps you from having a weed guard. That's a little bit different. One of the nice things about making your own baits, you can play around and experiment with stuff like that. It's another hidden eye flipping. That's just a solid kudzu. And we got these are Slither Rigs. This is just a bullet weight with a little bit of just a little bit of extra lead underneath it that I can tie to. So tie skirts to it, and you can just put a regular Texas rig underneath the bottom of these. Get you a good bulky rig. So if you're going in really heavy cover, these are about the best possible thing. These are all 9/16 ounce. Get a couple more kudzu oranges. One is a ball jig. This one is a new one that I haven't got to yet. So this is one of my micro football jigs. This is a 1/4 ounce. This is a 1/0 Eagle Claw hook. I guess I should be making sure. Hold me in front of the camera. I didn't do a very good job of that last time. But this is, it's also got a neck down pin on the weed guard. So this is only like 4 or 5 weed guard fibers. So you don't have a full weed guard here. Looks a little bit better than having a giant weed guard. These are a couple. That's a bluegill color skirt. This one's pretty beat up, but that's got an EWG hook on it. And that's another one of the hidden eye flipping jigs. The kudzu color. That one's seen some docks at a high rate of speed by the looks of it. Let's see, what do we got here? This is my Texas Craw. It's a brush jig. It's got a little bit of peanut butter and jelly in it also. That's a solid peanut butter and jelly. That's the ultimate PB&J on a round head. Sometimes they get these little cavities in the top of them like that. It'll take a little bit away from them, but it doesn't really affect anything else. It's another brush jig with a finesse cut skirt. And the finesse cut skirt, what I'm talking about is this top part right here is shorter than the bottom part. Kind of makes them parachute down slower than a standard skirt, because these are stiff, so they stay out. And it slows your fall, but it keeps a smaller profile. This is another one of the peanut butter and jellies. This one I put the rattle bands on, so I can make that one rattle if I want to. Another round head with the ultimate PB&J, and another round head, the ultimate PB&J. Okay, next we have, this is my Grasshopper color. This is my favorite color of jig. I use it a ton. There's a lot of different variations of it. Kind of just depends on what I grab. I don't worry about it too terribly much, but that's what it usually is. It looks a lot like, I guess this isn't exactly Grasshopper because I normally put orange in it like this one. So this is more like just a straight Missouri Craw. That's another ball head. This is like a light Grasshopper, because normally I would put brown in it. This one has done a lot of work. That's a heavier one. It's probably seen a lot of rocks at Table Rock or something. That's probably why I did a light color on that one. This is a little hair jig. It's the only hair jig, weedless hair jig I have. Can't remember what kind it is. It has not caught many fish. I've tried. I can't really make it work. These are a couple of the only store-bought jigs that I have in here anymore. I cannot remember who makes these. They come in a 2-pack though. They're Brian Snowden Signature Series jigs. I remember that much. I just can't remember who makes them in a Missouri Craw type color. It's another one of the finesse football jigs. That is the Grasshopper color. It's got the chartreuse, it's got the orange, it's got the brown, it's got the pumpkin. It's that right there. That's it. That's the deal for me. And this is a little Bass Pro Chompers jig, I think. Kind of a weird, like, I think it's Star Flash skirt material. It's more like a round rubber. There's another Missouri Craw. That's a finesse cut brush jig. This is an old jig. Bent out a little bit with one of the thinner wire hooks, and that's just green pumpkin and black. Had a really good day with that one time. I still remember it. That's why I have a hard time getting rid of it, even though it's in kind of rough shape. This is that green pumpkin, a little bit of orange sparkle in it, and the black bands on a brush jig. Some green pumpkin with the black and some orange, just another natural color. Kind of a Missouri Craw on the brush jig. I used to use brush jigs a ton. I don't use them very often anymore. It's another old one with the green pumpkin and the green pumpkin Dalmatian, I believe is what that one's called. That skirt material is called. That one's a little runaway. That's a Texas Craw. I said there's not much organization in here. Brush jig in the solid blue. Finesse jig in the solid blue. A ball finesse jig in solid blue. One of the hidden eye jigs, solid black. A bit of runaway skirt material. Another solid black hidden eye. It's a black and blue finesse football jig. A little bit of Okeechobee Craw and a finesse jig. Brush jig. Round ball and another black and blue finesse football jig. There's a whole bunch of jigs in here. It may not look like it, but there's a bunch of them in this one. It's couple trailers too. So these trailers are a little harder to get. These are pretty much all going to be snooty jigs, just different colors. It's watermelon jelly. That's an 1/8 ounce. Teeny tiny little things. These things kill. That's a 1/4 ounce. Very similar to a Strike King Bitsy Bug Jig. If you like the Strike King Bitsy Bug Jig but you hate the hooks, right there, that fixes that. It's another 1/8 ounce. Some of these I put eyes on. A lot of them I don't. Cause it's a jig. I don't really feel like it matters to the eyes. There's the teeny tiny little trailers that I have for these. That's just orange and brown. This is frog hair finesse cut skirt material on these. So it's really thin, and it's kind of hard to get very many colors in it. So they're pretty basic colors, most of them. The bigger ones I can go with heavier stuff. That's more just a watermelon jelly in a 1/4 ounce. Some brown, green pumpkin, and orange in the 1/4 ounce. It's one of the finesse football jigs, green pumpkin and orange. There's a grasshopper in the 1/4 ounce. Blue 1/4 ounce. It's Okeechobee Craw 1/4 ounce. Blue 1/4 ounce. Black and blue. This is like a black and blue flash. It's a pretty neat color. This I can go with a regular skirt material with the 1/4 ounce. They're heavy enough that you can get away with it. Black and blue 1/4 ounce. This was a clearance skirt I got from somebody. It was kind of the grasshopper color, finesse cut style skirt. It's a bluegill 1/8 ounce. Another bluegill 1/8 ounce. Black and blue 1/8 ounce. See, that's regular skirt material, and that's what happens when you put it on 1/8 ounce. This thing parachutes down super slow. Blue 1/4 ounce. Solid black 1/8 ounce. Brown and blue 1/8 ounce. 1/8 ounce, and that's the same deal. It's going to be super slow sinking. The ones that work best are the ones like this. They look scraggly. There's not hardly anything there. You put a little jig trailer on it, especially in the spring when they're eating small crawdads that have just hatched. Killer little baits. Especially this color, that just brown and orange. Real plain, but I throw it on a spinning rod, 8-pound test. You can just wear the fish out with it. Blue 1/4 ounce. This is another one of those specialty skirts. It's pretty neat looking. Okeechobee Craw 1/4 ounce. Blue 1/8 ounce. And another watermelon jelly 1/4 ounce. Another one of those Bass Pro Chompers jigs. I think the other one was over there, so we'll put him back with his buddy. This is my Texas Craw. This is one of my old-time originals. One of the first colors I did, just because it was simple. It looks good, just 2 tabs and go. Looks like a good crawdad color. More on a ball head. There's one on a 1/4 ounce finesse football. One on a brush jig. Another on a 1/4 ounce. There's a couple on a 1/4 ounce finesse footballs. Those little craws, they got a flat head on them, so they kind of stand up. Good little deals. These are the very select few swim jigs. I'm not a big swim jig fisherman. I don't carry a whole lot, but I have some in both boxes because sometimes you do need them. This is my Sexy Mama color on a brush jig. This is a Fire Tiger color on one of my regular Swim Pro heads. That one's actually caught some fish. It's got some scratches on the head. It's Sexy Lavender. This is from another Bass Resource member. This head, Munkin. He makes the best swim jig heads. If I fished more swim jigs, I would buy them from him. But those are just phenomenal swim jig heads. It's another one from him. I did that, my golden shiner. He just sends me the heads if I order them from him, and I can tie the skirt on them. It's kind of a shad, just a regular shad color. I think I called that shimmer. White with a flashy silver skirt. It's another fire tiger, but I tied some long strands of chartreuse for a little trailer on there. It's another monkin head with a bluegill skirt. This is actually one that he tied. I think he calls it sungill or sunfish or something. It's one that I actually fished, one of these two, and I tore him up with it. And that's my ivy color with a brush jig. These are just kind of some random colors. This is green pumpkin red. It looks like a little 1/4 ounce head. It's a pretty small one. This is some copper, purple, and green pumpkin on a finesse head. It's brush jig that's orange and green pumpkin and black barbed wire. That's an old head. Yeah, that weed guard's stiff as a board. I don't know if you could hook a fish with that if you life depended on it. That's one of my old bass casting heads. I don't even have that mold anymore. It's watermelon red Dalmatian on the football head. Another one of this is the copper purple Dalmatian, I believe, or it might just be flake. This is some watermelon red gold, I think, on the finesse football head. It's a color I call bream. That's a huge hook on that. But I was using these for some big fish that wanted a small bait, so I wanted a big hook. It's another watermelon in red. Yeah, bream. Those were all intended for big fish that never got caught. Green pumpkin and orange. Put that back over with the other ones. Watermelon and red. That's EWG Gamakatsu on the ball head. Watermelon and red with a little bit of orange and yellow fire tip skirt on the EWG hook. Watermelon red on the EWG hook. And another bream. See that one? That's one of the ones that actually got fished a whole lot. It caught fish, I just never caught the big ones I was looking for. Red bug. I had high hopes for that color. Never produced for me like I hoped for. I don't know what color this is called. We call it Doug's Magic. That color is the killer at a certain place. It works good a lot of places, but this is Candy Bug. Ball head with a June bug blue. Plain June bug. Black and blue. This is on a snooty jig. This is a 3/0. I can't think of the name of the hook company. They just come out here recently. But that's a sickle hook. Kind of playing with those. You know, I like those. Another June bug blue. Candy bug. So that's all the excitement in the finesse jig box. We'll go to I'm not very careful with my weed guards or my jigs, obviously. That's why some of them are bent up. Some of the weed guards are bent up. Alright. So these are going to be mostly hidden eye, flipping jigs, brush jigs, and football jigs. Except for the very first one I grabbed. Okay. This Trash Master, it's kind of similar to that one that I made. It's got line tie on top of the head, the screw lock, and the EWG hook so you can Texas rig your trailer. Comes through trash a little bit better. Hidden eye flipping 3. Looks like a 3/8 black and blue. Black and blue brush jig. Probably a 1/2 ounce. That's one of those cool heads. I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but it's like a crackle finish. It's black and blue, both on there underneath there. Hidden eye flipping code blue. Hidden eye flipping. This is a rubber skirt, all black. A little bit of old school flavor there. It's black and blue hidden eye. This is a mix rubber silicone hidden eye. It's a really bulky jig. Feels like a 1/4 ounce probably. Solid blue hidden eye. Black and blue hidden eye. That's a little guy. Probably should be in the other one, but like I said, there's not a whole lot of organization here. Solid black hidden eye. It's a little bit different black and blue. The hidden eye and another black and blue brush jig. Black and blue hidden eye with the Z-Man Helicross on the back of it. Probably should have taken that off. We'll leave that out so I can take that off and I don't make a mess of my jig box. This is a Munkin head that he sent me. Black and blue. It's got the out barb so I can cut myself really bad with it here sometime. Got a 1/2 ounce black and blue football jig with the black rubber. June bug in blue and black. Stand-up football head 1/2 ounce. Another black and blue hidden eye flipping jig. I try to keep flipping jigs and the football jigs separate if I can, so they're easier to find when I'm reaching for one or the other. That feels like maybe a 5/8 or a 3/4. That's a big head. Blue and black rubber. Another black and blue, a little bit different variation of the hidden eye flipping jig. Like black and blue hidden eye flipping jig. Black and blue football jig. Black and blue football jig. Stand up football jig. There's another Munkin head. I don't have this arrow. Can't think what it's called. The arrow style casting jig mold. So I got a couple from him. I think he sent me some samples with my last order to try. So, and there's a regular round football jig with black rubber and blue silicone. Some black rubber and blue hidden eye flipping jig. June bug hidden eye flipping jig. June bug hidden eye flipping jig. Those are 1/2 ounce. A 1/2 ounce flipping jig is my happy spot. If I could just fish a 1/2 ounce all the time, that'd be great. But unfortunately, they're not always that dumb. There's a 5/8 ounce. It's one of the first brush jigs in this color I did, and that one has done some work. It's another Munkin head. Nice, same thing with that one. Been through a lot of rocks and brush. Hidden eye flipping jig. And another hidden eye flipping jig. I bake my heads, but it only keeps the... Why there's so much line on that one. It only keeps the paint on there so long. If you keep them long enough, it's still gonna knock the paint off. I don't really worry about it. They look pretty for a minute. After that, yeah, whatever. Some more of the Slither Rigs. It's a black 9/16 and a blue 9/16. It's a Grasshopper. This is the I can't think what the color is called. It's kind of like watermelon red, but obviously it's a little more brownish color than watermelon. solid blue. Got the June Bug Football Jig that wandered over there. This is just, I bought a punch sinker. Bought some punch sinkers. I think there's a couple in here. It's probably an ounce punch sinker with green pumpkin and green pumpkin army camo. The old 1 ounce bomb of a brush jig head. I've actually caught a couple fish with it. These shouldn't have been over there. There's another one of Doug's specials. And a brush jig. There's another Slither Rig. Green pumpkin orange. Another Doug special. Brush jig. This one I need to figure out where he goes once I start digging into these other spots. Some of them kind of wander around too, so it's not all just me throwing them in here, but yeah, there's a brush jig with an owner deep throat hook. Those are nasty hooks, but they rust. It's the only thing that keeps me from buying them. They seem to rust really easily. This is a chomper's head, but I had to tie the skirt back on because it fell apart. It was peanut butter and jelly when I bought it, or cinnamon purple flash, I think, like this one. It's another chomper's. That's just brown and purple. 1/2 ounce football jig. PB&J, looks like a 3/8. This is another Munkin head. This is a really heavy head. I would guess probably a 5/8 ounce, pretty small hook. This almost like a grass punching style jig, which I don't do a whole lot, but it's a good hook or a good jig to have in case I ever need it. This is a football jig that I actually cast the mold myself and was trying to use it. It's a 5/8 ounce. It's ugly, but I think it'd work. I just haven't tried it yet. And another Munkin head with that out barb waiting to cut me. Not a fan of out barb hooks because I cut myself with them. That's that, and if you ever get hooked, trying to get them back out is about impossible. It's a Grasshopper stand-up football jig. This is, I want to say, a 1 ounce football jig. That's flat rubber, the brown rubber, and the Dalmatian rubber is just regular rubber, but it really fans out when it hits the bottom. It's definitely heavy. Bit of kudzu again. This is another rubber jig. I think it's supposed to be green pumpkin. It just looks green to me, but there's a little bit of kudzu in there, a little bit of orange on the hidden eye flipping jig. I like to think it wasn't me that left these long pieces of line on my jigs, but it probably was. It's the green pumpkin red with some orange. It feels like probably a 3/4 ounce. It's another one of the Munkin heads, green pumpkin and red. A little bit of a yum. Is that Bad Mama on the back of it. I get crazy sometimes, a little bit heavy on the rubber because I'm looking for a lot of flare and a lot of bulk, and I sure did it on that one, didn't I? It's kind of a grasshopper color, but if it hits the bottom, it's gonna just look like a big clump of weeds on the bottom. If it hits bottom, it may never get there with all that skirt material. The kudzu hidden eye brush jig. This is finesse silicone. This is really thin. There's a ton of it in there. that's all brown rubber with a few strands of orange on a hidden eye flipping jig. It's another one of those. This is a little better hook on this one. That's a stout hook on that kind of grass flipping jig. Some Missouri Craw. It's like a 3/4 ounce stand-up football head. I use the stand-up the most. It still serves the same purpose as a football jig, but it really does if you hit a good, mainly like dirt, sand type bottom. It's not going to stand up in rocks very well. No jig does, no matter what they tell you, because they fall over on rocks unless they hit perfect. But I like those styles because they get that trailer up in a defensive crawl position and I think get you a few more bites. It's a green pumpkin and brown hidden eye flipping jig. Another Grasshopper stand-up football jig. Texas Craw stand-up football jig. Kind of a Missouri Craw stand-up football jig, and a kudzu stand-up football jig. That's a little bit, just some watermelon red and a few strands of chartreuse. I'm a big fan of the little bit of chartreuse in my jigs. I think we've got pretty dirty water, and I think that a little bit of chartreuse flash gets their attention sometimes. Bluegill. This is a swim jig type skirt that I tied here. It's got the, like I said, a little bit of chartreuse trailer on a green pumpkin. It's another monkin head he did on a man stone jig type head. That's an owner deep throat hook that I tied a bluegill color skirt on. A kudzu football jig. Some watermelon candy and orange. So standard football jig. Kind of getting to organize my jigs a little bit while I'm doing this, so that's nice. Green pumpkin and orange. It's another one of Munkin's heads. And another bluegill skirt on a brush jig. Flipping, I don't know how many people flip a bluegill colored jig, but you're missing out if you don't. My dog agrees with me. It's another Munkin head. This is Sexy Mama. Brush jig and golden shiner. So plain old white hidden eye flipping jig. Another Munkin head and ivy. Not real sure why these were in there, but blue and brown stand-up football jig. Feels like a 3/4. There's a 1/2 ounce, kind of a Okeechobee Craw color. And now the big mess here. Like I said, Grasshopper's my favorite color, so that's where a lot of them are. So flat rubber, hidden eye flipping jig, Grasshopper. So, I mean, I don't really need to say Grasshopper every time, I guess. It's kind of redundant. Some more rubber, Grasshopper, hidden eye, more flat rubber. There's a Texas Craw football jig that snuck in there. He wanted to be a part of the party. Your silicone. Hidden eye brush jigs. Some different sizes in here. I can tell for the most part just by looking at them what size they are, or at least if it's the size I'm looking for or close to it. It's kind of a crustacean head from Munkin. And there's one of his similar to I don't know, sort of like a poison head, I guess. Makes all of his own jig heads, so he's got a ton of different jig head styles. Hidden eye flipping. There's a football jig finally. Seems like I need to make a few more football jigs in this color. It's a Missouri Craw football jig. Got the old menace on the back of it. Here's my other, I knew I had another one. That's the, that needs to come off of there. These have got a lot of salt in them. Probably lucky it's not rusted already. This is another Trash Master, Strike King, Carl's, whatever. Got my dog singing in the background there. She wanted to be a part of the video. She hadn't been in a video for a long time until last week, and now she gets to be in 2 in a row. That's what a green pumpkin, golden red brush jig, Grasshopper. I guess I could take that out and just put it somewhere else. I'm not looking for it in here. There's another one of my brush jigs with the corkscrew in it. It's kind of like a big shaky head. I don't, whatever you want to call it. Some more rubber skirt. There's another monkey head. That's Texas Craw with some orange. Knife flipping jig. Hidden knife flipping jig. Ooh, nailed that. My trash can's a long ways across the garage, and I made that one. Rubber skirt. Football jig, it's a lighter one. No brown in that one. Some rubber, round rubber. And some flat of the camo in a lighter color. So there you go. I guess you get to see a couple of the skirt or the trailers that I like, but the Rage Craw, the Yum Christie Craw that I took off and yeeted across the garage there. That one right there. I use a lot of the Yum Christie Craws. They're cheap and durable, good action. Buy them in, what is it, 100 pack or 25 pack, 30 pack, something like that, for real cheap. And they got the good colors. Oh, I almost made 2 in a row. I've been messing with the Z-Man Helicross. Haven't had a lot of chance to play with them yet. Not sure they're going to be a big favorite of mine, but we'll see. I don't use a whole lot of different trailers. Pretty much any kind of Craw-style trailers. I do like the menaces, but it's usually when I have one left over. I don't like cutting one just to use for a jig. Should have just taken all my trailers off. I'm not... Yeah, I forgot about to mention that. Most of my jigs have all got these wire keepers on them. Maybe the camera can see it, I don't know. Right there. So it holds the trailer on it really well. So I don't really like taking them off if I don't have to, but you know it's cheaper to replace a trailer in most cases than replace the whole jig. It's not really cheaper for me, but it is less of a pain to just put a new trailer on. So, anyways, that's my jig boxes. They're a mess. They're still a mess. They're going to stay a mess. I know where most everything is. I know I have what I want in here. Going through here pretty much confirm that, except I might need some more football jigs in here. Other than that, everything's where I need it to be and where I can find it. So, until next time, I'm not sure. I think this is the last tackle box I think we're on to maybe soft plastics after this. I guess maybe spinner baits, but yeah. Until next time, we'll see you then.